Hello, everybody. Ni hao, wo jiao Idan, and gao shinrang chini. I just said hello. My name is Idan. Nice to meet you all in Chinese. So I'm really excited to be here sharing with you all some of the challenges of designing and developing products for a culture and language different than yours. Today, I will suggest some tips on how to succeed in such a role, followed by examples from my experience being in Israel working in the Chinese market. But please take this with a grain of salt, as some tips are subjective to my personal experience and some might be mostly relevant to working with China. So a bit of background about myself. I started my career in advertising agencies, but I was lucky enough to get a job at Google very early in my career, which I believe has made a big impact on my journey pursuing a PM role. At Google, I spent 3 years where I was acting as a product solution and innovation specialist, leading mainly the video, social, and analytics products in Africa, Greece, and Israel markets. My next role was at Wix.com, the website building platform with over 150 million users across 190 countries worldwide. 4 years at Wix, and my PM skills and methodology got super polished, and being part of such a great company led by product, that gained a lot of great experience. In my role, I was leading the video product team, helping creators worldwide build a video website and grow their brand online. And today, 18 months now since I've joined Alibaba Group, leading the product of Israel machine intelligence site, helping translate customer insights, market trends, and data with an emphasis on AI and more specifically computer vision into products that customers love. And guess what? I'm delivering a product for a different culture. So in the following 20 minutes or so, we will first try to emphasize how different is the Chinese market from what we know in the West, and why you should get to know your market and customers well to build great products. Then I will share how to use partners and tools to get to know your customers while you don't speak the language. And finally, how to use trust to build a thriving cross-culture and remote collaboration. So a little bit about my company, Alibaba, before I begin. So according to analysts, Alibaba Group is the largest retail commerce business in the world in terms of GMV. As of March 2020, our annual active consumers reached 960 million globally, including 780 million in China and 180 million outside of China. Our businesses are comprised of core commerce such as Taobao, Tmall, which are also our largest marketplaces, but also supermarkets like Fresh Hippo, Alamal for food delivery, or Fliggy for travel bookings. We have Youku, the video platform, Tmall personal assistants, and much more. And it's all sitting on infrastructure such as the Xania logistics and financial payment solutions, and Alibaba Cloud, our cloud computing and technology, and the business unit which I'm part of. And our Israel site belongs to DAMO Academy, which is an innovative global research program. We specialize in AI and more specifically creating products driven by computer vision. Our mission is to be an awesome product-driven R&D center that mutually empowers Alibaba economy and the Israel tech scene. So here we go. My experience in China began when I started to work for Alibaba, and then I visited China for the first time. So the first thing I've noticed was, of course, the food. Very different food from what I'm used to. And some really cool stuff like bubble tea, which the Chinese like a lot. And the second thing I've noticed was the option to rent pretty much anything, from bicycle, phone chargers, to even umbrellas. The next thing I've noticed was how fun is the shopping experience. You know, in the malls, you can find those cute photo booths, create stickers, magnets, and win stuff. And actually, my whole shopping experience was different, from mobile payments to using technology that helps you choose their best outfit using like a virtual character. So that's me trying out clothes in the mall. I've also encountered some creative ways of combining experiences to reach like a wider audience. So for example, you can check out this karaoke plus massage place. That's right. And you can tell what choices I had to make as a foreign in China. Should I squat or should I choose the bow? And how the user experience in general is different. It took me a good few minutes to understand how those elevator buttons are organized, and the clue, it's bottom up. And more food. very yummy food, and robots making your food, and finally taking so many fun pictures. They love taking pictures in China, and well, I do too. So as product managers, we are expected to make the unknown known. We are expected to be experts on customer needs, on the data, on the numbers, to have deep competitive knowledge, and to know the business. But actually the expert task is very challenging. Coming from a very small but very growing country, I was up for a very difficult task. Israel population is only 9 million as opposed to 1.4 billion in China, and you can actually see us in the size of Shanghai area on the bottom right photo. So I try to place Israel there. But we are the high-tech nation. We're #1 in the world startups per capita. High-tech is about 9% of the workforce, delivering over 50% of Israel export. And starting my role in Alibaba, I basically had to forget almost everything I knew, since they were basically not available and even blocked in China. There was no Google search or docs. Instead, you have Baidu. Instead of YouTube, you had Youku. For Twitter, you had Xingya Weibo. And for WhatsApp, you have WeChat. And for Slack, they have DingTalk. So basically, a lot of the tools and also conventions I used to work with has changed. And talking about conventions, I won't forget this one time. I highlighted in yellow a row that I wanted to emphasize in my project management sheet, you know, to have my colleagues pay attention to it. But instead, I got a late night urgent call since they thought this item was at risk. So yellow meant risk to them. So that was a bit awkward. Working methods is one thing, but really knowing your customers is a whole other ball game. Let's review a first case study and start with WeChat. WeChat is your WhatsApp, your Facebook, your Uber, your Amazon, Instagram, Tinder. It's your hospital booking system, investing service, shopping mall, crowd heat map, tourist information, like, and the list goes on and on. So let me take you through an example. Assuming you want to wash your car. So you open your WeChat, you book a car wash service. A few hours later, a man shows up at your house. This guy cleans your car, you pay him with WeChat Pay. You take a photo of your car, post it on WeChat Moments and tag #carwashserver. You haven't left yet. Then your friend sees your post and decides she wants her car cleaned as well. She clicks the tag on your photo, books the same service, and sends you a WeChat thank you message. None of you have left the app. Then while chatting, she invites you for lunch. She sends you the location of the restaurants on WeChat. You both look at the menu and order food. Then you decide to book a taxi through WeChat to take you there. You pay for everything and you haven't left the app. Finally, you arrive at the restaurant, scan a QR code to see that you see on your table, and to let them know that you're there. You pay with WeChat, your food arrives to your table, and you put up a nice review, and guess what? You haven't left the app. And the reason super apps like WeChat, Alipay, or others are so powerful is not since they offer such a variety and can do it all. It's actually the fact it's all in one app. Most of them even offer third parties an easy way to integrate through mini programs, so they don't have to develop everything themselves. This is how the Chinese consumers behave. And while thinking of your product strategy, one of the questions you will probably have to ask is, will you develop your own standalone app or integrate into WeChat or similar? For our second case study, let's talk about Taobao, which by the way, owned by Alibaba, like I mentioned earlier, and how e-commerce is being done. Taobao is China's leading e-commerce platform, which can accidentally be compared to Amazon, although there are so many differences. And just to throw it in, it's also a super app. Similar to Taobao, you have other successful e-commerce platforms such as JD, Pinduoduo, Tmall, and many more. But what I find most interesting about the success of Taobao is the rise of live streaming. So Taobao alone generates over 9 million daily live stream viewers. So they consume over 150,000 hours of content, And the platform is offering about more than 600,000 products daily. And during the Singles Day, the Double 11 is the biggest shopping festival of the year. Taobao recorded 20 billion RMB, which is almost $3 billion just in one day and just from live streaming. That's huge. We're talking about live interactive mobile and social experience. The viewers are given a show. Each product is carefully selected and displayed or worn by a presenter. Users can engage with comments, likes, and participate in live limited time offers activities. But an interesting phenomena are the KOLs. Those are key opinion leaders. That's a very important term to know in the China marketing world. So a lot of brands are using them to draw customers to their product, but some of them got really, really successful. Take Via, so that's the girl you see on the screen, for example. During the last single day, the Double 11, she held an 8-hour session that earned a total of 3 billion RMB. That basically making her the top live streamer of Taobao and also a millionaire. So why live streaming on e-commerce platform works, you ask? First, a curated, trusted selections of product. Live streaming hosts carefully curate their product selections to their fan taste, and even more than that, they gather communities around them. Their viewers trust them to advertise the best choices of products. And this is very appealing to viewers and also leads to high conversion rates. So indeed, Taobao claimed that it had a 65% conversion rate across live streaming in 2018. The second thing I like to talk about is the emphasis on the problem or need. This is a very important in product in general. But Via, the girl I was telling you about earlier, she shares that sometimes her viewers don't know why this product is good for them. For example, when she was promoting a dental floss company, while the rest of China is actually using toothpicks, she actually focused on how hazardous are toothpicks for children. That's pretty smart. Third are low prices, price draws, and discounts. So Taobao Live hosts often work with brands to give out gifts or product discounts to their fans, as live streaming viewers are typically price sensitive. But also conducting some sort of limited time flash sale that creates urgency, and price draws to engage with viewers. So for instance, the popular Chinese key opinion leader, his name is Li Jiaqi. I really hope I'm saying his name correctly, but it's in English, the lipstick king. He usually starts his live streaming sessions by launching a competition to win a very high value electronics such as Dyson hair dryers, iPhone 11, or Xiaomi televisions. So assuming you're localizing your e-commerce product to China or working on an advertising tactic together with the marketing team, think how those consumption differences may change your whole strategy. So those were great examples why I emphasize that knowing your market and customers is key to your success in a foreign market. I think those two examples represent a lot of customer behavior differences from the West. So here comes our first takeaway. Get to know your playground. China has created a one-of-a-kind digital ecosystem. It has its own local apps, digital platforms, and tools that are breaking all conventions we know. And don't forget the most important principle of building great products, which is to focus on user needs. Listen to the local market needs, adapt the local way, not your way. And note that your product name, marketing, and branding strategy may change, and it's definitely okay. But how do you get to know the market and customers while you don't speak the language? This brings me to our second takeaway, which is find local partners and tools. Finding a partner may not be an easy task. It can either be a user experience designer that works with you and knows your product well and your user experience. If you have the resources, you can even consider hiring a local PM to join your team. You can leverage your social connections and find colleagues or even teams that can support you, and ideally join meetings to share their knowledge. But if none of the above works, or if none of the above is possible, you can just bring a translator. To perform market research, you can either use local service providers or available online resources in English. For example, I follow some newsletters from TechNod or Tech in Asia. Those are pretty good. And here's a great tip. Use less words to avoid misunderstanding. If you want to talk with a customer, show an MVP or a working demo that clears up your main value proposition. You can also use translate PowerPoints. In the example you see here on the left, instead of writing, the user has taken a wedding photo on his mobile phone, which then appears on Tmall Genie on their annual anniversary. So I just used these two images to clarify my intention. There are so many great built-in communication tools too. So WeChat and DingTalk are doing a great job in that, but you can also use Google or Alibaba Translate. So just know that if you're in China, you will require a VPN to use Google. And maybe the most important tip, post-COVID-19, of course, is to fly out as much as possible. Nothing can replace a local experience that you see in your own eyes. So now that you found your partners and the right tools to help you communicate, the next step will be to maintain a good cross-culture collaboration with those partners and manage the different stakeholders that might be part of the decision-making of your product. Question is, will you do that? How will you do that while being so far away and having this deep cultural difference? And the secret is build trust. The next set of tips relate to working and managing remote teams. And this is especially important in times like these during this whole COVID-19 situation. Yet their importance is even more emphasized when these teams are from different cultures. First, to build a good trusted collaboration, align and share your goals and expectations. Create a belief in the customer problem. Why is this a good problem? For example, what is the unmet need? What is the market size? And who would pay for your solution? Convincing the opportunity and how will you succeed together? The conclusions you made and what you learned yourself is not obvious to all. Third, set expectations on how you want to work together. Define methods, create a weekly or bi-weekly sync. Be clear on your status and what is the expected timeline. And last, define KPIs together. Understand how they measure their success. So you can speak their language and set a KPI together that will contribute to both of your success. And the second thing I'd like to talk about is communication. And this is critical when you don't speak the same language and have different understanding. So first, ask clear guided questions. For example, for me, open-ended questions with no examples never work due to communication barriers, and this leaves too much vagueness. Second, listen. We Israelis love to talk, but we should allow the other side to ask questions and learn what they understand. Third, don't make assumptions. Different cultures have different ways of thinking, and what they say might just mean something else. For example, sometimes when I was told, let's revisit this another day, it meant it won't happen. So always make sure of their reasoning and ask why. And last, always double check the requirements are clear and that they're documented, preferably using clear visuals as well to avoid misunderstandings. So in China, it's custom to first be their friend, build trust, and then do business. So I believe that to be very, very true. Don't be afraid to ask personal questions, learn about them, ask questions about their culture, share your knowledge and personal networks. If you do fly out, go for dinner, learn a few local words, some table manners. For example, don't point with your chopsticks. That considers to be rude. Or don't finish up your plate if you're not hungry anymore, because then more food will come. Follow up on holidays and special events to ask them how they're doing. Take pictures and share. Pictures are a fun social way to interact, and personally, I love it. And don't forget to use your foreigner charm to your benefit. You know, that's what you got going on for you, right? So be authentic. Don't try to be 100% local. All right, so as our time is almost up, it's time to remind ourselves the main takeaways we went through today. So from the importance of getting to know your market and customers, finding local partners and tools to support you, and finally closing on a very good collaboration using trust. I hope you enjoyed this webinar and my shared experience working on the Chinese market. So thank you, everyone. Good night or day, depending where you are in the world. Bye-bye.